just to say that there's a kind of a theme going on, let's say, or like the overall theme, which is sort of judge your neighbor worksheets as a tool for the work, high level. And being somewhat new, still working through the Work 101, as far as that course goes, I'm only on my second, judge your neighbor worksheet, and we take our time with each one. But lately, I've been sort of incorporating them more into my practice, and just my focus has been there lately. So I think my first question or first thing I like to discuss a little bit um, is how, let's say, the use of a judge your neighbor worksheet sort of in the moment of stress or stressful thought, right? Of course, we can have stressful thoughts that come up and maybe out of context, or they're a memory of a stressful event, or there's something that's lingering with us. And then there's also, I'm in the middle of a stressful event, or, I'm having some thoughts around this situation that's as it's occurring in real time. So first, I like to just bring
Mm.
that up, like the use of a judge your neighbor worksheet as a tool for dealing with stress or conflict or that sort of thing in the moment.
Yeah, great question. Yeah. So, Judge Your Neighbor worksheet can be used in a number of different ways. And in the Work 101, we use it in a very kind of slow, meditative way that we might spend, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours working through a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet because we're doing it over days or even weeks. And that is a slow way of marinating in the discoveries that you can find when you're working through a worksheet. But you can also do a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet very quickly. I've done it. My record is 5 minutes.
Wow.
And way that worked was I had 5 minutes before I was going to be working with somebody that I had worked with before that was triggering me. Like a client was actually triggering me, and I had no time. And like I've got to just do it. So I just wrote a very brief Judge Your Neighbor worksheet, and what I thought they were doing, what I wanted different, what I thought they should do differently, what I needed, what I thought of them, and what I don't ever want to experience again. So that's the main questions on the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet.
Mm.
I wrote those down briefly, and then I had about 2 minutes left. So all I did was turn them around. Literally, that's all I had time to do was turn them around and just sit and think, uh, does that turnaround make some sense? And I found some meaning, and I found a little bit of wiggle room, and it was enough. Totally different experience of that client when I went into the session. Now, that's not my first choice of how to do a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet because I majorly skimmed. And I'm not sure it would work if I was brand new to the work because just turning things around can often cause more problems than solutions because it can kind of come at you like, oh, now I'm wrong and
Hmm.
they're right. It can get kind of mixed around like that. It can kind of feel harsh. And so I know going through the 4 questions slowly and taking my time with it is what's going to be the gentle approach that's going to really allow me to settle in. But I'm very familiar with that process. And so I already had the spirit of that with me, and I was able to use it in a very quick way. Now you've seen the two extremes here. Like you can take days to work through a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. You can take minutes to work through a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. I will say another thing, just writing a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet is therapeutic in and of itself because what I'm doing is it's like a catharsis really. I'm letting out the stressful thoughts, getting them onto paper. I'm seeing what's going on, and sometimes just seeing that gives me enough distance that I start to feel a little less caught up by it. So that's another quick way of doing it. Another would be the things happening, like I'm at my in-laws or something, right? And something's happening and I'm getting triggered and I just say, uh, I need to excuse myself some way. Maybe I get in the car and go out to a coffee shop for 30 minutes and whatever the reason is I give, then I write a judge or neighbor worksheet in short form, might take me a few minutes, and then I work one of those statements. Or I take it in a, kind of work one and gloss some of the others, and it's good enough. It gives me enough of the feeling of, okay, I see how this turns around. So, yes, in the moment, the use of a judge or neighbor worksheet, it's amazing. It's amazing. You can use it in any of these ways, and you may find other ways that I haven't even thought of to use it.
That- That's great. I specifically, I guess, resonate or relate to because it came up in a similar context of being kind of in the moment of feeling that way, feeling, let's say, triggered is a good word for it, or just dealing with challenging emotions in the moment. Um, and it it occurred that like at a minimum, maybe just a way to channel these constructively or safely or something like that is really
Yeah,
helpful.
yeah. The analogy I like to use is like fire in a fireplace is wonderful. Fire in the house burns the house down.
It's
So
hilarious.
judge your neighbor worksheet is just this little crucible where I can just pour all my fire and maybe I'll turn lead into gold. I don't know, but I'm gonna at least get all the fire out into one place that's safe, and that can be hugely therapeutic.